It's not inaccurate to say that the government has essentially shuttered the nuclear industry in the West through environmental policy, through regulatory policy, increased burdens. But I think the exact mechanism of how that happens escapes people when they look at it, at a glance. I think the
Hmm.
biggest way that this is, the government is affecting how we would build reactors is actually at the innovation layer. So the way that technology develops is through innovation and iteration, right? It's like small teams of
Right.
very smart people who come up with a new way to do things. They build it, they test it, they iterate it, right? If you think about how, SpaceX was built, you start with a very small rocket, the Falcon 1, you launch it, you try it, you build another one, think about Falcon 5, then you go to Falcon 9, you launch that one, you go to Starship. It's very iterative, it's very fast. And the fast part is important. You have to be able to on short timelines go from idea to concept to test to change it to a new concept to a new test and iterate very rapidly. And that is essentially impossible in the United States, unfortunately. It takes about 4 to 5 years from concept to criticality minimum, right? So
Wow.
there's years of environmental review, there's years of licensing review, there's, millions and millions of dollars of fees that you have to pay to the regulator in order for them to even review your paperwork. There's just an enormous burden to those iterations. And when you have a large scale company that is doing billions of dollars of business, building very large reactors, that might be okay, right? You might find a way around that. Now, we kind of haven't, but in theory, you could find a way around that. But what it really hits is the innovation layer. It essentially means that it's impossible for us to create new types of reactors that might be safer. And so what you get is this local minimum, where you get a local minimum of safety and a local minimum of scale and cost and production that you get frozen into. And so that's what we really need to change. We need to make it possible for entrepreneurs to try a new thing out in the middle of nowhere, somewhere that's very safe, somewhere that's very remote. We need to be able to test reactors.
Right. Now, obviously, there is an extent in which government intervention and restraint is actually really good because we don't want just anyone building a nuclear reactor in their
Yep.
backyard. What's the correct balance there?
I think that our founders, thought about this problem a lot. I think they thought a lot about the problem of the role of government and how it should affect our lives and how it should affect the people versus the markets versus companies versus other countries. And what they determined was that you really want to have a federal government which is extremely focused on the defense of the country, and then you want to have state governments which are concerned with basically everything else.
Hmm.
And what that gets you is the ability to have variance. You actually have different opinions throughout those states, right? So I think the answer to your question is like, well, we actually don't really know, right? We actually don't really know what the exact right amount of interplay with government is in the nuclear industry. And the states should be able to figure that out. And what you will see is you'll see some states be more liberal with the policy and some states be more restrictive with the policy. And you'll actually find that balance. And you can let the people in the states, that are voting on these things and, governors and legislatures writing laws about these things in the state that they live in, figure out those balances. So as an example to this, the state of Texas right now is working on creating their own nuclear regulator, right? They want to be able to regulate their own types of reactors at Texas A&M and places where they have really amazing engineering schools.
Hmm.
And you end up creating this more organic way of regulation that is a lot more tractable, and you can change it if you are wrong and you learn from each other. And I think that's the right way to do it.